The microphone slipped through his fingers, hitting the ground with a thud that reverberated through the stunned silence of the dimly lit club. Until that moment, everyone believed it was just another routine evening at Sultan's, an underbelly joint tucked in the back alleys of Boston's Old District. Everything felt trapped in slow motion, from the swinging rhythmic sway of the crimson drapes to the final note that hung in the air like the last breath on a cold winter's day. The room was filled with the heady scent of cigar smoke and spilled whiskey, mingling with the lingering notes of an unfinished soprano aria. Barely 18, Italia De Luca was the starlet with golden hair cascading like a silk waterfall, and she had just stolen the audience's breath away. That's when the mic fell, wrested from her hands by none other than the notorious crime lord, Emilio the Fox Rossetti. She was not supposed to be here. The daughter of a humble baker, Italia grew up among the rolling scents of baked bread and sweet pastries, not the acrid stench of illegal smoke. Her fingers should have been smeared with flour, not gripping a mic while ensnaring the souls of those who ventured into this smoke-filled den. Yet on this stage, she defied expectation. Her voice was a haunting melody that caught the hearts of those hardened by the city's shadows, and nobody knew better than the scorned souls that frequented Sultan's. Her song was their confession, their escape. "Emilio," she breathed out, her voice a soft ripple against the backdrop of stunned silence. His shadow loomed large, predator poised elegantly against prey. The audience held their collective breath as Emilio took the stage, the embodiment of a devilishly handsome monster. He was impeccably dressed, every inch the part to command authority and fear. The moment was a spearhead poised to shatter the delicate bridge she had built in song. Italia could feel the heat of embarrassment rising, the kind that starts at the toes and burns a path to blossoming cheeks. Her heart thundered in protest of the scrutiny she found herself under, scrutinized not as the girl who charmed the lost souls, but as prey under the hawk's inscrutable gaze. "You always sang, even back when your old man made deliveries to my pop's restaurant," his words rolled like distant thunder. It was no secret who ruled these streets, much less a surprise who dared interrupt her performance. The crowd, a blend of toughened fists and weary spirits, shifted uneasily, expecting, no, demanding the show to go on. "When it's good, it's like you don't have to breathe," she answered back, a dawning strength shimmering in her eyes, invisible to all but those who dared look closely enough. Invisible like the hidden notes tucked into flour bags, the secrets she painted onto sheet music still stained with phantom fingerprints. The silence returned before the storm unraveled. Italia's mind raced as she faced Emilio's form, a test of wills in the solitude of clinking glasses and low murmurs. Once she had dreamed only of singing at the Gran Teatro, under lights that never dimmed, where applause didn't sting like cold wind. But dreams in this part of town morphed, forced to fit into semblances of survival rather than desire. This was crisis shaped as opportunity, rivals bearing fangs beneath polished smiles. Various paths appeared now, winding darkly and seductively as a labyrinth of her own making. Was she Italia, the girl who sang yearning to escape? Or was she the voice of the streets, intertwined with each tale of loss and redemption whispered on chaotic nights? The boss nodded slowly, emotion as thick and purposeful as a king discerning the worth of his subject. "It's been quiet lately," he noted, cold eyes narrowing as if he contemplated deals no longer on the table. Obstacles built like barricades, access blocked by scorn and disbelief. The Fox's men watched from shadows, a gathering of wolves awaiting the Alpha's word. Italia knew the lore how Emilio had risen to power, untouchable yet enshrined by betrayal and shadow deals. She glimpsed an opportunity, a veiled step towards the recognition she desired. "I've always believed silence is just another note waiting to be sung," she replied, staring into eyes capable of etching fear into steel. The crowd shifted, time operating under its own rules. What had been a performance was now a confrontation, an overture with no predetermined path. Emilio laughed, a dangerous sound like ice cracking beneath footsteps. "A prophet in pretty dressing," he teased, though how much of it was mockery was anyone's guess. He leaned closer, the closeness sharpening clarity into their exchange. an intrusion blanketed by an intimacy forged in rivalry. Italia's senses heightened, adrenaline sharpening her focus. She could smell his cologne, earthy and dark, a cedar forest encased in fog. Would she falter, finish the night as the girl who dared face a kingpin and lost? Or let revelation dance as chaos and courage intertwined their fates? In her pocket was a token, a melody yet unwritten, a chord yet unsung, a key to who she might become. His eyes assessed her, calculating yet infinitely amused. "Sing for me, and if you impress, maybe there's more for you," he challenged. The promise of success wrapped in velvet had an edge sharper than diamonds. Taking the mic again, Italia inhaled, poised on the precipice, where ignorance could no longer be her ally, nor innocence a shield. She sang with her whole being, summoning echoes from every shadow and dream nestled into the corners of the club, words lifted off the floor, entwining with lost hopes and whispered betrayals. Her voice soared, compelled by the gravity of moments unspoken, while the room's darkness cradled her woes and wishes. At last she paused, her breath a silent witness to audible marvel and unanswerable questions. Emilio clasped the mic, his grip a seamless invitation and command. "Not bad," he announced, passion flickering unexpectedly and eyes always calculated. Before she could uncloak the enigma conjured, the mic slipped again from his fingers, dropping a single terror in a silent cathedral. The club's lights flickered, divulging for a fleeting second the silhouette of another behind him, bearing a package that promised further complications. And with those shadows, he uttered just one line. "We may need your voice again sooner than you think." A cascade of whispers tumbled into shocked silence as he lowered the mic, his eyes shadowed like a twilight horizon. Italia hid her trembling hands in the folds of her emerald dress, feeling the fabric slide like water over her skin, her heart a metronome gone haywire in the ticking quiet of sultans. She tried to regain her breath, yet felt the club swallow it whole, a languid beast stretching, uncurling in the wake of unanswered expectation. The fox loomed, and the trailing echoes of her song tingled in the air, untouchable like refrains of yesterday, and much like those haunting notes, much had been left unsaid between notes and pauses. Her fear manifested quietly the way thunder rumbles a slow morning through dark skies. "Not bad," he observed, the words hanging in the air as heavy as the stifling scent of spilled bourbon. Her father would have scolded her for being here, in the lion's mouth, yet his world became one of shadows and silence after Mama left. The allure of this life, with its maddening blend of danger and defiance, coaxed her like mysteries whispered in the summer breeze. She imagined the glowing lights of the teatro bathing her in dreams, far away from the blood and biases that crusted her reality. As she stood, nerve-fraying with the watching crowd, Italia could feel the looming gaze of Emilio's men, the weight of an entire underworld pressing upon her shoulders. It wasn't just a passing audience's praise she courted, nor a life separate from the whispers and benchmarks the world set against her kind. The smell of uncertainty tinged her throat, metallic, foreboding. Yet there was life echoing beneath that fear, and resolve, much like her hidden piano tunes tucked beneath the cool layer of inaction. She had grown alongside Emilio's world, a world where peace unsettled, and the promise of chaos offered stability. "There are rules here, little siren," Emilio broke the moment, stepping closer than expected, his presence paradoxically a weight and shield. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder, and a rush of air between them suggests more is at play than dominance, more at risk than rebellion. She thought she recognized that conflicted glint in his eye, something akin to curiosity, or worse, a dangerous game of interest. Italia knew better than to meet it. Instead, she focused on the harmony echoing in her mind. Family pride threaded into intricate symphonies. But Emilio would learn quickly, he always did. The ivory keys awaited her, perhaps more familiarly than any ally or note. "They'll want you back," his voice rose to break the stillness. "With time. Knew those with claws and veils in the night, they'd grant her respect if she took this moment, led it to crescendo." Italia offered no response, only felt the shadows padding softly, endlessly vibrant, until storm clouds opened, flashing a strike of gold amidst fog. Emilio left her to the wolves. In the blurs of traffic that darted through dark-stained windows, figures amassed with ill promises and keen gazes, but Italia rose above their predatory whispers, sustained on notes and lines she'd known for years. The grand dreams of teatro had been replaced with the arduous routine of survival. Approvals became barbed coronets she wore without triumph, only occasional suffocation when nights caught her unguarded. But every crescendo heralded more than escape. Each song stamped her identity on realms dominated by intrigue and betrayal. Through her bones, through her frames she remade, history's weight remained, the thing that refused to cede. All this by what? One silky voice crawled from the darkness, a figure's outline barely discernible beneath a brimmed hat. Italia blinked back her resistance. By possession. Her resolve chiseled granite into her words, singing rich and challenging tales among an audience that knew longing too. The figure's breath steamed away from luminous smiles and darker intents. Italia's shared truths, the scattered parchment of her heart, documenting vigor and voyaging dreams almost determinedly, faster beats pressed than retreat. Even shadows followed her till she let melody guide movements, resolute against boundaries imposed. Time drifted eerily, marked by lingering smoke mingling with vapors cast by threat-cast promises, broke slowly all assurance, remade them anew, washed into this perspective, echoes driven wilder, bolder, fearing nothing save failure. Her years fluttered through ghosts and ephemeral sparks that spun for hope embers and wheat gold pages, parchment promising truth. Do you ever tire? A cool invitation, unworthy remarks from strangers. She shrugged them off with glances brimmed with proof. Harmony nestled in longing wouldn't cower under pseudo-thrones, steel-eyed offerings, or predator gazes. Instead, Italia found within the shadows of Sultan's refuge visceral domains where before specters rose. Through time, the essence found shield and revelation in her sight. It unfolded not behind pretense, but amidst maelstroms and hopes from crafted magic. A flickered kingdom within found sound unfathomable. Something borrowed wove Italia's path to new clandestine dawns that arose splendidly in shades and muted slumbers, embedding familiarity softly. Look again, Emilio prompted the leaders to haunt that place, watching suns descend ambivalent. Italia felt courage embolden her with stormy pulses, pushing lifelines warm and wary. She wouldn't falter. It's all chaos, the exhale of incantations spoke briefly, recalling night's embrace. Starborn. Then, nothing used to scare me, you know. Her admission surrendered to the night in quiet sacrifice. One hardly felt echoes gathering strings, cosmic brilliance played. Yet, buried deep, there still remained within seraphic music on threads wound lovingly with spindle thread, thrice traced along virgin routes undone. In her hand lingered vulnerably the object unwoven left unguarded Italia, eyes shem, weight through eyes. Through deliverance she measured them both. They covertly wagered breaths that marked passageways unseen. There's always that, came echoed voice returning unwanted. Something sharp rattled beneath delicate frame amid ethereal revelation. And should you falter? The universe raised its brow quietly. Italia. A crimson feather lands on stone destiny's thread unexplored. The stark clink of a glass against the bar jerked Italia from the mire of her own thoughts. She spun around, her eyes meeting the dimly lit but discerning stares of Sultan's patrons. The ice in the glass gleamed like fractured diamonds against shadows, setting an eerie rhythm in her veins. Pulsating drumbeat of trepidation mingled with aching familiarity. Italia found solace in her thoughts, albeit fleetingly. Sultan's creaky floorboards carried whispered tales, secrets exchanged like currency between its patrons, casting narratives in chiaroscuro. Old Mr. Russo was seated near the worn stage edge. The red of his drink mirrored the vintage sheen of his mood, a forewarning in his habitual nod to trouble. The air tastes of changes. His gravelly voice sent vibrations that melded with smoke in the flickering warmth of the overhead lights. Her father's old friends sat across the room, eyes as gray as the sea in January stayed, yet knowing. They turned towards her, kindling the ghost of a smile, as if acknowledging the chorus of events playing out beyond the modest nightclub armor. They're here for you, you know, he continued, tucking significance under the constraint of his words. Italia sighed, absorbing his cryptic musings with the demeanor of a tired protagonist caught between courage and dismay. This stage was her battleground now, where threats landed like falling stars, distress wrapping around influence. The room held its breath when Emilio approached again, this time with a slow, deliberate stride that belied the feverish anticipation creeping into their secluded enclave. Conversations dwindled to murmurs, ebbing like the retreating tides. He paused, an avatar of composure poised against the turbulent fervor that brewed within. Emilio's gaze anchored hair a clash of consigned rolls now exposed under spectral observance. A lock of her hair slipped from its pins, caught by an illicit breeze that tinged the atmosphere with spice and latent danger. Sing for the next strings that await you, he prompted, his smooth command healing as balm and blade combined. In Italia's pocket sat a card, its edges worn but resilient, edges softened by the constancy of belief and perhaps impending destiny's inscription. She had come armed for this, prepared to stake her heritage against the prevailing darkness cast by such unwelcome circumstances. Is that courage I see? He questioned, lips curling into the ghost of a smile never quite perfected. Her response was steeped in quiet defiance, a melody unsoiled by faltering will or hesitation. It resonated in kind with silent notes carried between the bullpen of spirits past. Italia stood firm, feeling the flow of her breath guide rhythmically between her teeth as she replied, I'm yet to learn where. Beneath the dim lights, time unspooled threads. The anticipation of viewing audiences carried itself on the vibrations of laughter and barristers' tales, conveyed as clearly as the wind channeling stories between the concrete edifices outside. Emilio stepped back, and the music flowed forward her armor, her weapon, and her legacy woven into him. Its haunting beauty riveted eyes amidst the knowing architecture of chaos built by these weathered walls. Her voice, it seemed, bore the lineage of sages, intonations whispering with the ethereal rhapsody of whispered secrets. His silhouette remained resolute as he gestured, unveiling the dance of shadows draped meticulously upon his features. A twist in the cadence of their exchanges, darkly luminal breathings, and shadow play that left windows wide open inside a world fraught with unsheathed deception, high as the tides. With each note Italia released, recognition shaped itself. It crystallized moments, gilding feathers collected on breezy violet evenings into precious yet pivotal recollections. The club revelers leaned into assemblage formed within her newfound reach, the weight of waiting for fate to unfold like delicate petals coaxed open by the morning sun. In this operation of peril and promise, the evocation bore akin to chains unbinding threads forged in fire and hidden love, each carrying urgency and legs of fortune tellers awry. As her climax approached, the room felt electrified. The presence of possibilities and pitfalls converged on birthing realities teetering to tipping thunder. More to come, always more, Emilio murmured, his tone sliding seamlessly into the room's encasing reverie. Their eyes locked a fluid transference, conspiratorial as the silent agreement forged amidst blistered rivalries and lions' dens alight. The crowd remained ostensibly spellbound, entangled by melodies unquenchable. In the absorption of sound and rapture, she paused, craving a relapse into the sanctity of presence, cherishing the weight of company, shared metrical beats. Stepping away from the stage, Italia's breath marked silent reconciliation with spoken truths refracting light through unknown windows. And yet, the corner's edge held them. She halted there between exposition and belief, a quiet pause augmenting their singular contemplations, collecting Era Curtain's shadow, intricately tremulous and anticipative. And just then, as if summoned by the unveiled prophecy, a man approached through the crowd, charcoal-clad, foreboding curving his silhouette against the transparent gaze of Amir's intent. He produced a small envelope, laid it before her feet. With one last searching glance, his breath formed a cloud that parted like sparrows fleeing through smoke, lit hues at dawn. The thick silence resumed, pregnant with the consequences looming ominously. Emilio's calculating voice broke the spell. Games may prove profitable for those who dare. Italia's gaze flicked to the parchment emblazoned in gilded black, a symbol curved in sinister arabesques. A test, or unraveling perhaps, adventure ascended beyond mere pretexts. And then there remained only the letter, bathed in the vernal sheen, whispering truths half-spoken. Darkness never rests. The envelope crinkled under her boot, producing a peculiar contrast to the tension-strung silence of the room. Italia blinked down at it, her mind reeling, tied by veils of speculation and palpable curiosity. The air smelled of sharp ink and secrets, urged into existence like fleeting phantasmagorias burgeoning beneath Sultan's dim lights. She didn't reach for the envelope immediately, savoring the indeterminate weight it cast on her anticipation like a suspended chord before a resounding melody. Emilio's face remained a play of shadows, unreadable save for a faint trace of satisfaction etched across his lips like stolen moonlight. When she finally knelt to retrieve it, the world around seemed to shift closer, breaths captured in the weave of sounds and expectations. Italia's fingers curled around the envelope, feeling its surface alive, brimming with tales whispered in languages unspoken yet familiar. Does it contain answers or questions? Her mind teased, indulging curiosities that painted urgency over apprehension. The patrons of sultans were a quiet sea, moving little but watching much. Even the whispers stilled, threatening an emotional crescendo that awaited resolution. Italia, the girl who sang amidst shadows, now became a focal point of silent narratives spinning wildly in their midst. Beneath the furrowed gazes and hidden gestures, she opened the envelope's seal, releasing its contents that flapped impatiently in her hands. Cream-colored letter embossed with gilded edges, glistening like morning dew on parched petals. A note and a map, Italia murmured, reading the brief inscription tangled with whispers of roads untamed and threats unnamed. Her senses thrummed with vibrant tones of caution and allure. The map, worn with age and scarred with creases, depicted crossings of streets familiar only under the pall of dusk. There was an eager directive to it, an invitation veiled beneath riddled senses. Intrigue, she thought, one word capturing a realm of possibility that twisted her reality anew. Around her, Emilio and the patrons awaited, suspended in the lyricism of plot woven entirely by shadows upon walls. The club's baritone rhythm wove into her resolve, shading each breath with unforetold undertones, a cityscape choreographed to the harmony of clandestine edges. Her gaze lifted, heads nodding subtly in unison, a silent passage of strength flanked by danger. She knew that in this place swathed in uncertainty, untapped potential lay dormant, yet potent, waiting to course beneath her skin like notes of an unfinished aria. I take it you have a song in mind, Italia, Emilio observed dryly, casting a knowing look filled with implied compacts. Italia tucked the map into her pocket, remembering the twilight warmth of a baker's stove contrasting the theatrics she now embodied. Songs don't reveal themselves until they're sung, she replied, lifting her eyes to meet his. His laughter was a low rumble, an elusive melody dancing between irony and amusement. The crowd savored the exchange, the tension transient yet insistently present. Italia lingered there in the lush fabric of layered sounds, contemplating boundaries blurred between audience and performer, whispering hopes stitched in destiny's patchwork. Finally she moved, the subtle grace of a predator unmasking only when appropriately challenged. Her steps carried her past Emilio, past the inquisitive eyes of those who adored or dared to despise. And as she reached the club's entrance, her fingers twitching, like the prelude to a grand overture, she knew questions would keep circulating, drawing circles upon air untouched, yet fundamentally altered. The door swung open as she stepped into the aromatic embrace of a Boston evening, salted air stretching its fingers through her hair. Night summoned her with a constellation of promises, dreams caught alight, spinning like firefly processions within her heart. Italia embarked on an allegorical journey laced with concealed danger, the omnipresent aroma of whetstone underfoot. Her encounters with night-born characters revealed layers akin to the soft hum of strings vibrating under uncertainty's tacit approval. She paused, feet rooted to familiar cobblestones as she navigated the map, their cold embrace prickling against warm determination. Her night itinerary, crafted by forces unknown, whispered secrets encoded in zigs and zags threading through facades weathered by time and tide. Each turn embraced intrigue. Every corner birthed curiosity into tangible form, a collision of unease and hope, interwoven through maze-like paths laden with scents of rosemary, smoke, and remnants of tales bumbling through alleyways drenched in mystery. The air thinned as Italia approached her mapped destination, the world contracting into intimate peril enfolded within muted echoes. A place obscured, even for a siren that sang truth from within peril's grasp. Her destination materialized a grand, yet unassuming structure wrapped in shadows and stories ready to unfold, veiled in histories whispered through brick and concealed behind timber doors. The building drew breath, savoring the evening's possibility. She knew her journey sang of hope unrevealed as yet to those bound by terrestrial norms. Disappointment weighed heavily against expectation of transcendence. Tenaciously, Italia stepped onto the threshold of her future unwritten. The door knocker, elaborate and cold, resonated like the initial chord progression of some nocturne unexplored. As her knuckles touched its surface, the night seemed infinite, yielding eternity embedded only in potentiality's unyielding existence. But as she pushed open the door, revealing but a silhouette curling into the facade seams, Italia's anticipation ebbed into certainty, the kind sustained by harmonies underscoring quiet fortitude. Within this space lived answers layered across tablatures of intent and entanglement. "Surprise follows sorrow," a voice echoed. Italia hesitated, absorbing the prophecy amidst the darkness tempered by silent conviction. The newest symphony of choices lay before her, spiraling like an infinite clef. Beyond, the alley resonated with closing notes, a door ajar. And with a breath caught halfway between syncopation and silence, the shadows whispered back, "Rest in promise." The scent of freshly baked bread overtook the lingering darkness, an unexpected balm in the moonlit alley. Italia's senses awoke suddenly, her heart hammering a bluesy riff beneath tense ribs. She traced the warm aroma to a small bakery, shutters half open as if beckoning her, drawing her into a world momentarily stripped of danger. The window pane glistened under streetlights, mirroring Italia's curious reflection. Her childhood had spilled out in this very bakery, the DeLuca lineage that knew warmth and resilience better than any Mafia spectacle. Italia couldn't resist. She felt the tug of nameless nostalgia, slipping easily into the embrace of familiarity. An old wooden sign, DeLuca's Crust and Crumb, creaked in greeting, her fingers grazing the worn lettering infused with memories. Inside, the yeast-laden warmth enfolded her, the old walls whispering secrets of dough and dreaming. So often had she watched her father's hands knead life into flower, a symphony of creation, no less potent than her songs. But the tranquility cracked under the pressure of reality as Emilio's shadow loomed at the door, a dark silhouette against the soft light. He watched her with eyes like calm before a storm, an unspoken invitation extended between realms, shadowed in convergence. Italia fell still, rooted by the history that both connected and chained her. She was a singer taking respite in the fractures of dreams past, an audience of one spectating a performance of survival. "What are you hiding from, Italia?" There was a genuine inquiry beneath Emilio's tempered, only a tender hook, hidden within the lure. "Sometimes even stars need the comfort of home," she replied softly, her fingers tracing the outline of a rolling pin etched with Flower's ghost. "Is this home?" Emilio's question hung in the fragrant air, tinged with a gravitational pull. Italia felt deep within. Her cheeks flushed with rebellion's blush, meeting his earnest gaze head-on. "Home is where my heart finds its song," Italia whispered, a truth both raw and rhythmic. The bakery enveloped them in melodic whispers, and for a moment, sound-filled spaces yet to be occupied by declarations. Italia's past and present swirled, music and silence, chanson and solace, all colliding inside bakery walls draped by time. The crescendo was subtle, echoing uncertainty blurred by contrasting heartbeats. But futures were molded here, crafted within her father's domain, in Emilio's waiting reflection. "I've been offered a choice," she confessed, acknowledged by the gentle crinkle of parchment from her pocket, "unfolding roads unknown." Emilio's attention sharpened. He stood patiently, expectation, a flame that neither wavered nor extinguished. This was Italia's crucible, a meeting of destiny's proxies forging alliances born of vulnerability. Would she claim agency, relinquishing orphan truths trapped in music notes, or discard opportunity for the comfort of consonance? Carefully, she withdrew the map. Its serenade of roots exhaled promises she could barely comprehend. Dark paths lead to vital destinations, Emilio mused, lending weight to words heavy with implications. As Italia spread the map under the forgiving light of bakery remnants, her eyes sought Emilio's in a league of defiance shielded by song and silence's tenacious dance. What's inscribed demands more than a voice, Italia, he cautioned, momentarily lowering the mask to reveal wariness commingled with admiration. Her fingers traced lines etched into the paper, mapping futures whispered in bricks beneath her feet. If it requires more than song, then perhaps my silence refuses compliance, Italia declared, tenacity weaving its threads into her tone. Strength surged through trust's fabric, unbound by blind desire or fear. The map bore witness as a tapestry unfurling tales both cautious and compelling, inked by untold composers of power untapped. Italia turned in fading light towards Emilio, a transition, fraught with decisions unyielding as unbridled chords. In the bakery, a place of refuge veiled in flower's ghostly embrace, momentum required surrender, movement beyond the spectral thrum of nostalgia. Emilio's posture spoke volumes, more invitation than confrontation, willingness over dominance. Here lay a delicate intrigue spun silently between verses inherently bound. Will you find the note that beats beyond echoes? Emilio posed, an openness in his query imbued with respect for capability, believed dormant yet vibrant. Italia placed her trust in future echoes, embracing the summoning chord whirling on the edge of inevitable crescendo. She knew the stakes as they formed through narratives weaving, soul and struggle entwined. Yes, her voice clear and certain, alone and yet joined as rhythm met resolve. There's hope yet in this melody, Emilio replied, his tone revealing confidence sealed by night watches. Italia nodded, and as she stepped back into the veiled serenade of alleys alive with spectral uncertainty, nostalgia brushed against her like leaves carried on whispered breeze. In parting, Emilio offered one last query, his voice but a murmur, blending with night. Will you allow truth its own harmony? Such mysteries lie silent in noon's ageless shadow, sang Italia, stepping hesitantly into possibility's song. And so it was, beneath the awning shadows cast by forgotten streets, Italia began composing life's symphony, while the city listened with quiet anticipation. The bakery's embrace, her touchstone. As the door closed, enigma darted through dusk, leaving behind a chord embodied in spectral destiny. A whisper curled softly, sending shivers down Italia's spine. As she traced the path forward, it lingered like a minor note played over unfolding pages. Beneath a street lamp's muted halo, a lone figure observed Italia's departure from shadowed respite, and with depthless ambiguity, a gentle refrain echoed. Secrets wait to be distilled with time's forgiving rhythm. Silver tendrils of smoke slipped lazily from the chimney of a dilapidated house, wispy dancers in the stark blue of the pre-dawn sky. The cold ground crunched under Italia's boots as she approached, mind a whirl of uncertainty and resolve. She stilled, absorbing the house's quiet resilience, a stark yet humble presence much underestimated by those who knew its facade decades ago. Peeling paint and crooked shutters marked the forgotten dwelling, a relic bearing witness to countless whispered secrets between brick and mortar. Italia felt an unearthly pull, a timeless connection murmuring beneath her skin. Her hand hovered over the tarnished doorknob, fingers trembling with the anticipation of revisiting a sanctuary lost to time's erosion. She hesitated, reflecting on the micro details of her life, a symphony of unnoticed rhythms and forgotten keys. Creeping unease rode the fingers of mist, brushing against Italia's skin, testing, questioning. She inhaled deeply, the scent of rust and decaying leaves a potent reminder of vulnerability and strength. Each breath steadied her resolve, beating in counterpoint to the symphony only she could hear. An echo of her father's voice, a gentle hum, wrapped in warmth and cinnamon encouraged her from memory's depths. Italia swallowed her doubts, the sweetest intervals of childhood serenading her in shaded tones. Her world was an enigmatic melody twisting through dark and light, unexpected trills of familiarity within the unsettling. As she moved through the doorway, a shadow passed over world-worn eyes. Italia felt the weight of history settle upon her shoulders, a cloak stitched together by threads of longing and forgotten lullabies. Her gut churned, the tension of unwelcome scrutiny rippling through her like a discordant chord. Italia surveyed the room, each item a note, every shadow an unsung song. She was a stranger trying to slip into the old rhythms of a world she no longer recognized. But the house held its breath, watching her with patient expectations as Italia faced unseen eyes probing every movement. A chorus participated in her every step, spectators to the dance of the past embracing uncertainty's dangerous waltz. Unseen forces wove webs of pressure around her, an aria of hesitation threatening to drag her under. Audacious emergence grew in the room, lingering in the ghost of a storm. Italia searched her surroundings, meeting the challenges thrust forth by the specters of time, their voices growing louder with every echo off the walls. From shadows a figure emerged, man marked by the passage of stories untold, his presence a master's stroke orchestrated by fate. Italia, the man addressed her with the familiarity of kin, a rough-hewn dignity lacing his tone. Her gaze calculated his form a melody unfinished, chords seeking resolution. "I've come for answers only this place holds," Italia proclaimed. The man chuckled softly, a sound dark and thick like syrup. "Answers elusive as they may be, often hide in the harmonies we fear." Italia squared her shoulders under the burden of his gaze, an audience sharing with her the rhythm of their collective silence. "The fox's trail has led you here," he declared with calm authority. Italia nodded, confident despite the silent doubt woven into her spine. "I need to know where fate's notes will take me." Her words rang clear, whispered absolutions for searching souls suspended in harmonic uncertainty. Driven by resolve, Italia stepped further into the room, a vanguard approaching the orchestra destined to conduct her destiny's symphony. Tension hissed and crackled between them, woven like notes of their silent understanding. Obstacles emerged as phantasms, cast in uncertainty's shadow, challenging her every word and note. Emerging from uncertainty, Italia shared her intent a story harmonized in shades of desperation and autonomy. The man's eyes glinted under the pale light streaming from the window. "You'll find no clarity in fictions spun from ages unmarked by heart or hands." Determination swelled within Italia in time with her stubborn heartbeat, a relentless and unstoppable motif. Understanding etched itself into her soul's sheet music, climbing scales towards a crescendo. "I've woven my intent in song and silence," she replied, striking a chord resonant with iron resolve. Murmurs from the shadows echoed, reverberating with admission and acknowledgement alike. Italia splayed her fingers upon a piano hidden in gloom, its keys cool against her palm, a lifeline tethered to both patience and passion. And then she played, fingers tracing graced history in waves of sound that flowed around notes aching to be played, notes begging recognition. Harmony streamed through the house, encasing Italia in its embrace of familiarity and discovery. As melody unfurled between peeling wallpaper and languid curtains, Italia summoned hidden truths. The music summoned silent sages guardians of time's never-ending manuscript, resonating in tandem with her movements. Harmonies twined through the air, binding observer and protagonist, casting shadows upon walls scaffolded by unsung traditions. Victory whispered upon each key struck, every note and arc lighting pathways obscured. Italia crafted a realm born from strength and overture, weaving through starlit fragments in an uncertain future. And as she ceased her playing, notes fading into reverie, the room resonated with newfound clarity. Within a breath's length as the silence inhaled its reflection, a new voice hovered, curled like mist and promise in the doorway's embrace. The melody demands more musicians. The jarring staccato of footsteps against cobblestones broke overhead. The sound multiplied, ricocheting through the chilled night air like an unscripted symphony reaching crescendo. Italia's heart jumped with the unpredictability of those steps, her mind processing their rhythm amidst the unfolding uncertainty. Her breath hung visibly in the air, each exhalation a testament to nerves taut and senses heightened. Standing amidst forgotten memories, Italia clung to the paradox of nostalgia and looming danger, her pulse an impatient metronome underscoring the hesitation inherent in her journey. She was dressed in layers of warmth-muted colors that harmonized subtly with the shadowed exterior surrounding her. A wisp of hair escaped its confines, dancing conspicuously in the whim of the wind, further emphasizing her tie to the unfolding scene. Her focus was momentarily drawn to the texture beneath her feet, cobblestones worn with age and history, each smooth stone a storyteller of eons past. Italia could almost taste the dust and chill in the air, the raw elements woven deeply into her understanding. Her hands, akin to porcelain perched upon strings, moved involuntarily towards her pocket, feeling the corner of the map that crackled with every slight motion like a whispering secret. A figure emerged from the nighttime mist, an imposing silhouette etched starkly against the backdrop of encroaching twilight. The man's presence instilled a silent crescendo, a note of foreboding that reverberated down Italia's spine. She squared her shoulders, refusing the surrender of composure hard-earned through unspoken challenges and tempered resolve. His voice pierced the evening air like a bowstring released, taut and unsettlingly composed. You tread paths, Marquis. Long before Italia, you seek what others fear to claim. Italia hesitated, heels planted solidly as her mind traversed unencumbered through the familiar yet foreign landscape of the scene. Her response was steady, rebellious, an aria scaled with silent conviction. I didn't come here to tread where fear lays claim, only to craft my own symphony where silence once stood. The ensuing silence bred tension akin to a string quivering on the edge of rupture. Talia knew her assertion carried notes saturated with challenge, a test from which there would be no retreat. The struggle within felt orchestrated to echo her strengths, every heartbeat a reminder of the confrontations simmering between grounded dreams and volatile reality. The man watched her with both detachment and intent, his presence connecting her assertion with tales spun wild across the wind, doing little to conceal tethered anticipation. The soul's melody shifts against the undercurrent of truth, he countered, a practiced hand familiar with maneuvering complexities within their unyielding sphere. Her thoughts danced through visions shackled by doubt and liberated by hope. Italia internalized his words, considering the layers of meaning resonating beneath the skin of the night. Her journey had coalesced alongside symphonies unheard, stories unclosed, and choices unmade, an intricate design massed beneath woven symbols of the past and present. Pressure ebbed and flowed mercurially inside. Turmoil brewed like a storm. Outside, her determination remained steadfast, an unwavering rhythm guiding her resolve through tumultuous seas. Detours find hearts unwilling to falter. Her voice carved lines through the fog, intertwining with confidence in an unfinished sonnet. Time stretched and contracted as their verbal duel danced across cobblestones, each syllable drawn intimately seductive, weaving constraints upon narrative thread. The man stepped closer, presence exuding an unspoken intensity. You play at threads others would sooner sever. Does your journey stem from rebellion or requiem? Italia searched the depths of her answer, fingers itching to snatch introductions from whispered dreams lurking upon drafts of yet-unplayed scores. After what felt like an eternity steeped in expectation, she replied, firm and clear, threads composed stories worth singing, compositions metered in truth. Around them the air shivered with the resonance of her answer and intimate dance, speaking volumes of defiance and grace interwoven at moments of divergence. The anticipation of their interplay spun with unrelenting momentum, hurtling Italia forward into profound discovery. Her map, tucked insistently within reach, vibrated with the promise of revelations made manifest beneath mysterious structures. Stepping back, as if to appraise her from a new angle, the man considered such courage born from daring notes eloquently. The harmony of this place can foretell futures, he conceded, allowing space for the undercurrent of respect to settle conspicuously between them. Italia embraced her emotions, the simultaneous stillness and movement inherent in her resolve, like a leader's baton conducting symphonic conquest. Yet ambiguity unveiled emotions restless as shadows, whispering of tendrils, weaving fate beneath the mantle of expectancy. Silence, potent and forbidden, rippled outward in homage to their confrontation. The world waited, poised to unfurl trailing resonances cast through dreams and daring. As Italia turned, delineating her path back into the embrace of shadowed uncertainty, the mysterious stranger's parting words lingered on the breeze. Not all stories conclude where they began. A last glance was all that remained between them, a stare down awash with omens, before the impenetrable night swallowed Italia whole, leaving questions streaming unanswered in symphonic retreat. Italia's hands trembled as she unfolded the map beneath the dim streetlight, its parchment edges weathered by time, whispering about paths unknown. Her breath crystallized in the night, a cloud of doubt dissipating slowly in the cool air. Here, beneath the watchful gaze of the eternal city lamps, truths and secrets lay entwined waiting for the brave to unravel their mysteries. She traced the street names with a tentative finger, her sense of direction honed over years wandering alleys filled with history's whispers. She was poised on the precipice of discovery, shadowed by the weight of promise, tune unheard yet pulsing through her veins with each step forward. Italia adjusted her coat, feeling the rough wool scratch against her skin, just another reminder that she was a survivor, forged in the crucible of dusk and dawn. Her father's words echoed in her mind, sewn into the fabric of her being, thrumming like a bass line beneath her thoughts. Life is a song. Sing it boldly. She had set out to do just that, her heart a metronome set to courage. From behind her, the sound of footsteps echoed, a cadence thrown into resonance by the time-worn stones. With each step she took, the shadows lengthened, dancing in time with her heartbeat. She felt scrutinized by the night itself, an insidious observer intent on tripping her stride through laden silence. Yet she pressed on, driven by the urgency that gripped her insides. Her bones hummed with the thrill of untold stories, the lives that intertwined like musical notes within the structure of the city. Here lay the symphony of generations, an opus of blood and dreams, and she was but another note gracing its complex composition. Turning a corner, she found herself at the entrance to a verdant courtyard, hidden these many years by veils of ivy and the gentle neglect of time. The scent of damp earth rose to meet her, grounding her amidst the unfolding mystery, a somber serenade she found empowering in its melancholy. In the center stood a fountain, water quietly weaving its own song over its weathered stones. Italia approached with reverence, the moon above casting ethereal light that skimmed the surface, painting whispered secrets across its calm facade. Her finger dipped into the cool waters, breaking the surface tension with ripples that expanded and overlapped like interwoven destinies, an illustration of the impact one life could make within the tapestry of many. As the ripples subsided, she drew the map from her pocket once more, anchoring herself within its worn embrace. She understood its significance now. It was not merely an object, but a symbol painted in scarred lines of obligation and hope. Italia felt destiny's refrain guiding her onwards, orchestrating a truth she was only beginning to grasp. Her musings were shattered by an ominous voice cutting through the sacrosanct quiet of voice, both alien and intensely familiar, enrobed in the darkness edging the courtyard. You've come far, closer to unlocking the secrets you seek. Its owner emerged into the dim light, a figure wreathed in both mystery and menace, weaving shadows into the night itself. Italia's pulse quickened, her confidence challenged by this unexpected presence, a specter from the shadows that draped every path she walked. "What secrets do you hold?" she asked, her voice steadying into its own accord of melody, both vulnerable and unyielding. "The secrets that call for silence," came the enigmatic response, his eyes dark pools reflecting the silent spill of stars overhead. But every silence is but another note left to linger in possibility. He took a step closer, his movements precise, a dance bound by invisible constraints. Italia could feel the electric charge of confrontation sing through her, an aria, on the cusp of revelation. Her hands tightened around the map, its crumpled visage a testament to her journey's trials and triumphs. The man gestured toward the fountain, the motion fluid, timeless. "This is where paths converge, where your song begins anew in echoes of harmony or discord, Only you can decide which. His message unfolded through the night like an instrument embracing crescendo. Well then, Italia challenged, her determination rising to meet the challenge. Let the silence give way to song. Her declaration bounced against the quiet stone, daring fate to alter its course. He regarded her for long moments, a composer assessing the symphony woven before him, his silence laden with unspoken promises. Pursue thine own truth, he finally intoned, a sonorous chord reverberating within his words. But know that each note comes with a consequence none can foresee. The fountain seemed to echo agreement, its waters lilting in choral understanding. As Italia turned away from the cloaked figure, her path lit by determination alone, she felt the stirring of momentum, an overture gaining speed, unfurling its potential. Behind her, the night remained poised on the boundary of dream and reality, watchful and composed, preserving its secrets for those willing to wield them. She moved forward, buoyed by the promise of untold horizons, casting a glance back towards her latest companion, poised under the celestial canopy. And as she melded into the embrace of darkness, his words trailed her resolute form, hanging in the air like a lingering echo. Some secrets are best expressed in silence. Through the shards of night, Italia's voice pierced like an aria exquisitely untethered, taking her audience seen and unseen by haunting surprise. It was as though the stars themselves leaned closer, titillated by the bold assertion of her tone marrying the quiet. In truth, it was her own heart she sought to convince, an unsteady protagonist amid the vast orchestra of fate. Italia stared down the courtyard's echoing vastness. Her hand clutched the weathered map, its secrets melting into her psyche as if ink and understanding could intertwine upon breath. Every jagged line, every worn corner, whispered to her, yet offered no armor more enduring than her defiant song. Her mind painted flickers of her past in vibrant hues, contrasts etched into the resonance of tonight's quiet exultation. This strange juncture between the shadows of her present and a destiny basked in the glow of uncertain tomorrows, transcended mere steps and whispered of impending crescendos. How many nights had she walked the precarious balance between risk and revelation? Before sultans, before the fox's watchful eyes, when her only audience were dreams tangled with the rhythmic pulse of her father's heart, a baseline strong enough to weather the fiercest storm. Oblivious to all but the magnetic pull of discovery, Italia embraced the night, her pulse quickening with an unsung harmony that held her prisoner and liberator in equal measure. Her determined stride bore witness to the pressures that threatened to isolate her spirit in a cocoon of hesitance. The air brimmed with the fragrance of jasmine, an amorphous mist perfuming the night, serenity woven into the tapestry of doubt. The sudden clatter of metal disrupted the silence as a figure stepped out from the shadows, his presence an interruption against the ethereal background. Italia's breath caught, the tremble in her hand unnoticed amid the molten strength flowing through her veins. Italia, the figure called, voice smooth as polished mahogany, echoing commands framed with curiosity. The voice belonged to none other than Raoul, right hand to Emilio Rasciti, and herald to mysteries wreathed in malign intent. Her silent composure galvanized as she regarded his approach, a personal storm contained within the brittle calm earned through resolve. She could feel the weight of scrutiny, an expectant gaze far more telling than any whisper of threat. Are you here to collect crumbs of forgotten legacies, or to unravel songs left unsung? Raoul queried, amusement and animosity entwined in serpentine undulations. Italia's response was measured, spun from a courage more ancient than any known fear. Sometimes it's not the notes that matter, but their silences, she replied, defying implications with an enigmatic air. The courtyard cradled their exchange, the ancient stones seeming to breathe with shared secrets, spoken in tongues only bells could convey. Raoul's confidence bolstered an air of conquest, his disdain a smothered smile encased in inquiry. Do you dare think your whispers disturbed would shift the cadence scored into stone? The challenge in his words twisted through the night, an intricate duet poised on tension's precipice. Italia's gaze did not flinch, the blue fire of her eyes meeting his with a steady daring that belied the simplistic reinforcement of such confrontations. Perhaps we underestimate what shadows conceal, she said, each word a harbinger of her unyielding resolve. The rhythmic essence of lives intertwined hung between them, waiting, watching how the melody would evolve. Raoul leaned closer, his presence dominating the delicate poise of intention she cultivated in that ornate courtyard. The maestro grasps the fullness of your score, he murmured, a revelation borderlining on threat and gift. Italia sensed her destiny's pivot, the tremble of hands unseen pushing her towards a new refrain, one she had both feared and longed for. The elemental echo of yet unplayed chords sang inside her. Is it love or defiance that fuels your symphony? Italia mused aloud, measuring the tempo of her thoughts against the cacophony of pressures mounting like breaths. Raoul tilted his head, eyes narrowing only fractionally. Perhaps they're one and the same. His words crashed like cymbals, ringing through the shroud of expectation. Italia pondered his theory amidst the speeches of night and reflection. Could love indeed manifest in the individual's defiance, bend steel wills into harmonious decrees? Her own convictions mirrored Italia's silent harmony, powdered on the anvil of choice, rising, arching, unfolding into a crescendo shared by those daring enough to play life's uncharted score. Then let the symphony play on, she said resolutely, strength shining through her steady tone. The air carried revelations to her senses, the softness of unseen things, their melody alive under the moon's watchful eye. From the fountain, water lapped loyally over its edge, an endless dance of persistence. Italia found herself seeking such continuity, composing her world anew across unexpected stages. With Raoul retreating into shadows cast by ambition, Italia was graced by an ephemeral peace that cloaked her newly found place within the city's heartbeat. Turned toward the path beckoning her forward, she took a moment to savor the sum of silence, wound into notes in moments yet born. Translating the fragmented fabric of her choices into decisions built on trust, legacy, and the undertones promised by destiny, she ventured onward. When Italia stepped from the gloom into the ever-flickering streets, a gentle wind whispered possibility, like a serenade shared between souls entwined in their quest. Yet, even as dawn loomed, an image surfaced, suddenly a curtain unseen, fluttering within Italia's periphery. Should it fall, what might it reveal? She wondered impromptu, her steps cast in eternal rhythm as the night cradled its secret, gently awaiting discovery. And so, under the watchful gaze of stars, Italia sought meaning lying just beyond the folds of a mysterious veil. A mere illusion, or truth's overdue revelation? Italia stood at the edge of the world as she knew it, where shadows dissolved into uncertain dawn, the line between night and day blurring with each intense step she took. Her breath misted in the soft gray air, a silent whisper of hope mingling with apprehension. Here, poised beneath the arching arms of twisted Georgian oaks, Italia prepared to unravel the orchestral riddle her life had woven. She was no more the quiet girl lingering in a baker's abode, or the ingenuous soprano who captured the underworld's gaze. Italia was a full symphony composed of discord and harmony, each note strung together by desire and defiance. Her heart kept time with an unyielding rhythm, steady against the swell of uncertainty pressing upon her soul. The worn map was flesh against her fingertips, imbued with tantalizing vistas she had yet to explore, possibly only envisioned by compass, strewn magic, or prophetic desire. Italia dared to venture onward, grounding herself in the melody of crackling pre-dawn, the orchestra of birds waking, stirring the muted gold of possibilities. Thoughts cascaded like streams, a song of both promised peace and potential allure through the cobblestone piazza. The dawn's breath lifted Italia's spirits, an ethereal song carried beyond distant siren. A figure emerged seamlessly from the imbricated haze, grounded between past and present, each gesture a concerto of intrigue. Italia, the voice that streamed from the misted figure wove around heartstrings like a ballad familiar yet profound. Do you sing to ignite or disarm the night? His voice signaled both invitation and promise, a dance of fate forged in whispered promise. He was Pietro, the enigmatic poet of shadows, whose verse wrapped around truths unspeakable. Italia's attention was drawn to the way his presence resonated, something tangible in the unassuming setting, echoic yet urgent. Perhaps both or neither, Italia replied, her tones weaving through a smile shadowed by irony. One must dare to share a stage with the elements. Pietro Lafetta sound deep as the oceans, spanning crescendos like an overture shared between conspirators. He stepped closer, his movements a pattern harmonizing in sync with Italia's burgeoning cadence of anticipation. The place was an echo of time's breath, a sanctuary snuggled within consecrated woods, its architecture of intertwined dreams tangling into branches draped in dawn's solemn luster. Italia sensed the gravity of concluding notes, tones waiting to be layered onto parchment white with hope. She felt a moment suspended like held breath, an overture hesitating on the cusp of revelation. It was an understanding steeped in heritage, the fold of legend wrapping around embodiment of choice, destiny revealing its symphony. As they approached the threshold brimming beyond reality's strictures, Italia's hands brushed bronze leaves, their surfaces whispering melodies that journeyed beside her, urging onward with secrets untold. Pietro beckoned her into the fretted chamber of Forest Cathedral, a place caught between times, hushed yet alive with expectancy. The light was soft, lofty with reverence as shadows cavorted beneath the vaulted expanse, dance partners to the mystery their presence conducted. Their notes unheard echoed along the stone altars, where ivy interwove woven harmonies inked into stone, untouched barriers mingling chorales of pilgrims yet unspoken. Italia felt the recesses of suppressed chords react as they stood before what appeared a shrine of antiqued oral reverie springing from Enigma's symphony. Pietro gestured gracefully at a scroll reverent in inception, its surface evanescent against the light's fingertip touch. Many seek answers here, Pietro mused, tracing enigmatic lines across lyrics previously unseen. Italia approached the altar, fingers trembling against rapture's potential, silence breaking to overlap into metaphorical symphony whose gravitas lay in secrets, woven secretly whispered. Yet there within the hush of the aftermath stood Raoul, guardian to the mysteries scrawled upon parchment. Italia's heart beat against its rhythmic constraint, poised to breach the unknown Saxon tapestry with bold intent. You've walked far upon notes untread, Raoul acknowledged, edges in tune with promise. Her eyes met his, bravado measured against intrigue rich as the chapel melodies surging unbidden from within. I have come to shed light's quiet over darkness. Refuge turned charge, Italia in tone, voice strong and resolved. Their world lay confounded with shadows presiding, questions spiraling like dances beckoned to life by entwined destinies. Her hand met parchment's edge, unfolding lines awaiting intonation and understanding, its secrecy inviting culmination. Raoul seemed confident beside shadows flanked by silences stretched across time unfurling. Italia felt a vigilance of unity wrap upon the vaulted choir. An unyielding tapestry holding riots orchestrated by harmony unseen. With a shared breath, Pietro and Raoul took their places, the hidden ensemble ready to initiate. Italia gripped the scroll's narrative, uncovering truth interwoven through revelation, secrets sung between saints of veiled heritage. As her voice rose through chapel rounds, a symphony awakened, cradling trust built upon faith's chorus, serenading timelessness, graced only by courage. Then arose a moment supreme, a cascade brought forth and shared among ascendant towers, lining spirits entwined. As consonants settled, in decrescendo led the theme. And in that quiet-filled monument, the dale fell softly upon the sacred stone. Harmony, Raoul whispered through the chamber, is born of courage's fear embraced. In dawn's embrace, Italia felt her own truth align with the mania blend unfettered, transmitted along the threads of mythology into life. Pietro, Raoul, and Italia stood as an ethereal symphony poised on the ebb of words unspoken. The coursing tides of possibility reached parted fatis in A32 all benediction upon those who dared dive into woven waters, brining tales of redemption, wholly intertwined. In conclusion, the stone whispered an ambiguous promise, unfurling secrets beneath poised anticipation. The Kleos lore unfolded within as Italia beheld the scars of symbols in greeting, their next move framed by shadows cast graciously into.